Better watch that one back there.
Which one?
Both of them.
No, we're cheap.
Does that look okay? That's the second setting. That's the setting for.
My hair is too bright.
All right, we're live.
Okay. Begin with the pledge of allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think Keith kind of started that. That's okay.
You started the pledge of allegiance the first thing about that.
Next item is the approval of the agenda.
Addition.
We have one addition from what was sent out on a cash transfer.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Keith to approve,
Second.
second by Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have public comments. Anyone sign in?
No.
No one signed in. Okay, next on the agenda is Samantha Hurst, Criminal Justice Local Grant. Yes. So everybody can see you.
It is a grant that we apply for every 2 years. It is to fund our victim advocate position. There's usually a match portion. I think in the past it's been somewhere around 70-30, maybe a little bit more or less. I think this year was like 68% paid by the grant, and then the county matched the rest, 32%.
We've been doing this for years. I
Yeah,
think.
I think since Rod was.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least since I was.
Yeah.
15 years ago.
But we have to apply for it every 2 years.
Every 2 years. Anyone have any questions of Samantha? If not, I would entertain a motion to
We'll make that motion.
approve or for her to go ahead and apply for it. Motion by Stan, second by
I'll second it.
Keith. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Thanks. Next, we have Tara Lucas, Public Health Nurse Supervisor. She has, I think, something called Health Indiana First and a baby box.
We can start with the baby box. That's
Okay.
probably going to be the fastest on the list that I emailed you guys. So as I'm sure most of you are aware, in October, I approached the commissioners about the request to apply for a grant. It's a $10,000 grant through Indiana Homeland Security. And asked about applying for that because it would require a building modification at the Armory Annex had we gotten the grant. It has taken quite some time and some planning, but we did get approved for that $10,000 grant. The total cost of the box itself is just over $15,000. And we do have the funding in our vaccine reimbursement fund to cover the remaining cost of the box itself, to cover any maintenance fees, to cover the contractor fees, and any fees associated with hooking up the alarm system that is required to that box. So at last week's commissioners meeting, I approached them again and let them know that we were approved for the grant and that we had multiple conversations back and forth with the company. And they all three agreed that we could press forward. So here I am in front of you tonight, just, letting you know and asking you if we can go ahead and proceed forward with that. Like I said, it would require no additional funds from the county. It would be completely covered, and the maintenance, yearly maintenance would also be covered. And, just to I'll share some things with you that I shared with them that I felt were important. As of November 2023, there were over 100 baby boxes in Indiana. While this may sound sufficient, it's important to note that most surrenders do not happen in the county in which the mother resides. That's why it's very important that we continue to provide these. In 2021, 31 babies were illegally placed in dumpsters, found in backpacks, or discarded in other dangerous locations. 22 of them were deceased. So that's why we feel this is very important, and we would like your support.
Do you have the grant itself
I do,
that you could provide a copy to
yes,
the
absolutely.
RSS office?
Mhm, yep,
And this is a reimbursable?
it is,
Okay.
yes.
How long before we get the reimbursement? Is it usually,
So it's very quick from Indiana Department of Homeland Security. They said it would be very fast.
Okay.
But the box will not be put into production until they get paid because it is such a large expense. And it's about an 8-week lead time from the time they get paid to the time it's done.
Where is the next nearest one to us?
Spencer County just got theirs a couple of months ago. Probably not even a couple of months ago. I think it was early February.
This is the first year.
Yes, correct.
What happens if the mother gives up her baby? And it's like alarm or something, when you put them in,
Yes.
it triggers a signal?
Yes,
And
so
I assume it's heated, climate controlled?
it is temperature controlled, and that is one of the things that we had worked on. We were trying to talk to other counties that currently have one so that we could make sure we were determining the correct place and the correct steps to take to ensure that it was placed in the right spot. So the box itself will come equipped with a camera, and our certain personnel will have access to the camera, the police department, sheriff's office being some of them. And it will trigger the camera, and it will also trigger an alarm to dispatch. Again, the box itself is climate controlled, but it's also helpful that our interior wall, where it is proposed to go, is also temperature controlled.
I think it's a very good thing and hopefully never be used, but
Yes.
we have it, we need it, so.
Do you know where you will fund the balance from? the
Yeah,
5,500?
so Randy Cole and I have looked with Steve Hauser at the best possible location. And we think we've come to an agreement on where we feel it would be appropriate, meaning it's not going to cause any harm to any of the structure or any damage with possible leaks or anything like that. And we're looking at the front-facing wall of the health department portion of the Armory Annex. We had a couple of concerns that we talked about, meaning I didn't want the inside of the box to be accessible or visible by our little kiddos that we see throughout the week. So I think we've come up with a potential fix to that as well, just kind of doing a partial wall so that airflow can still get through.
So you mean the main entrance, or what
Yes.
would be considered the main entrance to
Correct.
the armory
Mhm.
back in the day?
Yes.
and the reoccurring costs are minimal, right?
They
I mean,
are
they're just like a
Yeah.
alarm fee or something.
Yes. So we would have an alarm fee, which would come from the alarm company, and then we would have they list it as a maintenance fee,
Okay.
but it's minimal. And we can, like I said, we can cover that. We can cover that in our Health First Indiana
Mhm.
budget going forward as well.
And is that how you will budget for the remaining 5,500?
The remaining 5,500 will come out of our vaccine
Oh,
reimbursement
okay.
funding because it is a covered expense.
I think it's a good thing.
Any other questions? I guess we need to approve the grant or just, I mean, you've already basically done it, but you probably still need
Yeah.
to vote.
I do think your intention was right to go to the commissioners and, you know,
Yeah, because had they said no,
Yeah.
to a building adjustment, it wouldn't have mattered in my,
Yeah.
that's kind of where my thinking was.
I'll make a motion to approve that if you're ready for a motion.
Yeah. Motion by Kelly,
Second,
second by Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Next, you have the Healthy Indiana First.
Yes, so we are a quarter of the way through our building year in 2024, and we are making huge strides and getting lots of training done and starting to push our programs out. I'm sure everybody's seen it on Facebook. So with that said, we do have some funding that we need to kind of switch around, which was to be expected. We had 2 contracted employees in the 2024 budget. We did not get them hired and in place until early February, which left some funding in both of those lines for the January portion. So I'd asked you guys if we could transfer the school liaison month of January portion and split it between office supplies for school wellness packs and then the remaining $533.33 into operating supplies for car seats. And then the sanitarian assistant for the month of January, we'd asked that to go into utility services.
So you're transferring a total of.
So it's you have to kind of look at it separately because that funding
Right.
is a little bit separate at 60/40 on that health person.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah, so that's why we had it split it up that way. So it's 1,833 and 33 cents from the 60% portion, the school liaison funding for January. And then it was 2,275 for the sanitarian assistant in January.
Is there anything we
I'm
need
okay
to
with
do
that.
on our end?
Yeah.
Oh, salary ordinance. Salary, or,
Just the moving of stuff and wow.
Yeah, and I got, the state wrote it out for me.
Okay,
So we
perfect.
were, yeah. And I
So
can share
everything
that.
you're wanting to do is
Yeah.
okay with the state?
Yes, and this is gonna happen, this is gonna continue to happen, especially in this first year, as we, I would expect July, August, once we know more about our immunization grant too, we're gonna come back, and we got a plan for that, we just have to come in front of you guys first and ask for permission before the state will approve it.
So I assume you're working for 25 as well for your budget for 25
Yes,
because you're,
because the soft budget for
significantly.
2025 is due June 1st, and that's the one that doesn't have to be county council approved, of course, but it does have to be turned into the state saying, here's where we think we are,
Mhm.
knowing that we can tweak it a little bit as we get closer to that September, October month.
You'll have a higher amount of funds, which is
We
good,
will, yes,
more to work with. So
yes.
I'm okay with this.
put that, make a motion.
I could make a motion to approve or whatever. It doesn't matter.
I'm okay with it too.
Cal made the motion, I guess. Second by Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
So the last thing on that I have to ask, I know, I'm sorry, super needy today, which doesn't happen often. On that original 2024 budget, we had budgeted some emergency dental services, and I've worked with the county attorney several times to try to figure out a good way to make that work. And after talking to him several times and then talking to other counties, if we change that to say dental health kits, number one, we can reach a lot more people than what we could by keeping it the current way. And it would just basically mean that we're going to actually purchase dental kits. We're going to go, we've got a fair in July, and just do more education and hand out kits. So I just need permission to not change anything with the funding, but to change the purpose of the funding from emergency services to kits.
And you need us to,
I need you to tell me it's okay, so that the state will also allow it.
I'm okay with it, Dave.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Motion by Keith, second by Stan. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dental
Thank you.
emergency kits.
Yes, my email, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of February 22nd, 2024. Everybody had a chance to review these?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Motion by Stan,
I'll second it.
second by Kelly, to approve the minutes as presented. Signify by saying aye. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have some, I guess, invoices we need to take a look at. First one has the Wagner Shealy Irvin Shealy invoice. I think this is kind of old, isn't it? But
Yes, I had spoke with Wagner, Irwin, and Shilly. We got a bill that actually dated with stuff back to, I think I sent you guys back to 2022. I contacted them and told them that I took office in January of 2023, and we had new council members, a new auditor, and they agreed to take all the 2022 items off. So I sent you guys a revised bill.
it reduced it by about
Yes,
$1,000.
yeah, it took off, yeah. So we're down to $1,377.50. This is for work that we did in 2023 on our personnel policy handbook. I did also talk to them and ask that we be billed at least quarterly for this, that we couldn't do this being billed in March of 2024 for things back to March of, well, actually getting
February.
billed back to 2022. I do have to take this to the commissioners on Monday for an additional appropriation because we don't have any money left in our consulting budget. So I don't know if you guys, I thought I'd bring it here first before the commissioners, where you guys ask if I need to ask them. This will actually not be on till the 16th because I need to ask you. It's not on the 1st because I need to ask you guys where you want me to post the additional appropriation, whether you want it to come out of the general or like you have done, you did with the last additional appropriation that we have today where it's paid out of Riverboat. Because we've already used the 3,000 that's appropriated for consulting. We've already used all that. So I just need to know where to ask the commissioners to do
I
the
think it
additional
needs to come
appropriation.
out general myself.
So you guys want to do all the legal additional appropriations out of Riverboat and then just do this one out of general?
General.
Okay.
That's the way I got to vote on it, but I
Yeah.
guess.
Are you making that
I'll make a motion to take it out of general.
I've never seen anybody bill over a year late. I don't understand.
Okay, motion by Stan to take it out of general, a second by myself. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
So I'll take that to him.
Next, we have American Legal Publishing Invoice. I've never seen this before.
Do we have to pay
Okay.
this?
So I sent you guys this. We received this invoice from this American Legal Publishing. And I looked it up and we did pay last year $495 out of 1138, which is Riverboat. All right. Sorry, I'm having a blank right now. So I reached out to this company because, of course, I'm in my second term. So this time last year, I was a little bit crazy and still trying to figure things out. And I'm like, okay, I don't even know what this is. So I reached out to them and I forwarded you guys the email. Apparently, we have been under contract with these people since 2020. The last time anything was uploaded to their site, basically they take your ordinances and upload them to this site for you where anybody can search them on there. But nothing has been uploaded to this site since 2021. And we in the auditor's office now are utilizing Data Pit Stop, which if you guys remember, we were paying for that and before and not utilizing it. So before I wanted to get your guys' direction on how I can proceed, but I don't feel it's worth it for us to continue putting them in two places. We're already putting our minutes and our everything on our website, and then we're also putting it on Data Pit Stop. I feel like the state's going to the route where most everything's going to eventually be put on Gateway, because more things are having to be uploaded into Gateway.
You're putting the actual ordinances, county ordinances on Data Pit Stop?
They go with the minutes.
Well, I mean, but this has a record of all of them up till 2020. So
We can put, yes, we've actually talked with Darren.
Can we just go ahead and pull all those off and put them on there? Or on our county website on a link or something? We don't have to pay this?
Yes. We talked with Darren, and I think I sent you, we talked with Darren, and they can organize, just like they do our minutes, our resolutions and ordinances for no additional cost than what we're already
Yeah.
doing. And I just don't feel it makes sense for us to have things in two different places.
And that Data Pit Stop is a public website,
Yeah.
so anybody can get on there. If you Google it, you can find it.
I don't think it's very user-friendly either.
Which one?
This one.
This
American.
one? Yeah. So I just want to get your okay we'll remove it. It's actually something, we budgeted 500 for it, but they've increased it to 550.
You said we had a contract. How long is it? Or is it just a
It's an
rolling?
annual, yeah, I guess we just paid, I don't know. It's an annual subscription.
We budgeted for this.
Yeah, we did.
So you're saying if we
How about we say
If we
take it off?
no, we won't have to pay the $550.
Yeah, and it's $500 out of general that we won't be paying that we budgeted for.
I'll make a
Yeah,
motion,
let's get
David,
rid
that
of
we, get out of that one. And
Yeah.
stay with the,
Motion by Keith to.
As long as you'll talk to Darren and get them on
That's
there.
what I'm saying,
on
you
the
want me to
county
move forward
website.
with getting all the resolutions and
Yeah.
Right, it's
ordinances
important
on
that-
out of pit stop.
The public can see them
Okay.
and if they want to access them.
So Keith.
So motion by Keith, second by
Look
Second.
at them.
Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, and I'll report back, once everything's done with data pit stop on that.
Thank you.
Next, we have some transfers from community corrections from the project income fund, social security to the court recidivism grant field officer of $117.86. That's pretty small.
Do you want me to read the notes? This is
I
a
don't think on that.
the transfer to cover the remaining field officer salary for 2023. Moving the funds will close out the 2023 grant with a zero balance. Attached is the approval of the transfer by the state of Indiana grant authorities. Tracy emailed this out separate.
I was supposed to say, I
Yeah.
hadn't seen that.
Tracy emailed this out separate, so I didn't copy it and do all that.
If no one has an issue, I would entertain a motion to approve
I'll
that.
make that motion.
Motion by Stan, second by
Second.
Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a transfer from highway from truck driver to temporary seasonal in the amount of $14,080. I think Steve had a truck driver or a position that was vacant for a while.
Yeah.
And I think when we were doing the budget, we kind of missed this second seasonal employee. So rather than doing additional appropriations, he's able to do a transfer, which is good.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Keith to approve this transfer, second by
Second.
Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have also highway from transfer of $6,000 from new equipment to furniture and fixtures.
What new equipment? Copier. Okay, but that's.
Yep, yeah, you don't need the copier anymore or what? What are you getting, a bed?
This is transfer of new foraging. We bought a new copier, our old one was where we couldn't get parts for it anymore, so we had to replace it.
And I added this on here, and technically I didn't need to, because I thought it was going from your restricted to non-restricted,
Oh,
but it's staying in 1176
okay.
and going from it's staying in the same category. It's a 44105 to 44701. So I apologize. This was
So this
just
is okay.
This
I mean,
is- yeah.
it doesn't have to be advertised or
No.
anything.
so.
So it just changes that
So we
to
don't have anything
4.
on that one.
You can go ahead and vote on it. I mean, if you want, but technically you don't have to. I don't know.
Motion to allow.
Motion by Paul to allow,
I'll second it.
second by Keith. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a cash transfer loan from local income tax public safety to,
I just said that backwards.
oh,
It's-
local income tax special legislation to local income tax public safety in the amount of $200,000. That's, I think, just to carry us through till settlement, and we're just running a little short in that fund. We're collecting enough funds, but it's just that we've got a lot
The
of
timing.
expenses initially that has brought it down to where it's almost in the
This
red.
is pretty common.
Yeah, I actually reached out to Ricky.
Huh?
Is that the fund that's changing? Is that going to be a problem when?
It shouldn't be a problem
Okay,
because it's
okay.
still,
It's still-
as long as you pay it back before the end of
Okay,
the
I just
year.
want to make sure
This
because
is
it's supposed to be.
This is the account we normally take. If we have to borrow till we get settlement, this is normally the account that we take it out of.
I don't
Would
think it
have
would
done
make
in the
any
past.
difference. That
No.
You can still borrow from
You
it.
can still borrow from
You
it.
just have to pay it back before the end of the year.
I actually talked to Ricky with the State Board of Accounts today. And because I actually discovered this 2 days ago, is it right, David? Once we pay stuff out, because the hospital comes out of this, the the hospital payment comes out of this. Our, I'm drawing a blank, David, help me.
Or like the ambulance.
We purchased the ambulance. We zeroed out that's where I was at. We zeroed out the tribal funds. So we paid for the ambulance out of tribal for $187,535.88. So that zeroed that out. The total purchase of the ambulance was $200,000 something. So I had to take $7,000 out of general, which we had budgeted. And then I took we have $53,000 budgeted in public safety for ambulance lease, but I only took the $6,449.12 out of there because that's all I had left. I zeroed out tribal, the $7,000, what was left out of here. It only ran us short $325.75. But when you take the ambulance, we're paying $117 to the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
And then we bring in $55,796 on this a month. So it's just going to take time for us. And we actually ran this fund's cash balance down to $1,178.82. So we started it.
What was that cash balance in the beginning, starting?
The first of this year or first of last year?
First of this year.
$1,178.
That was all it was? Wow, that's pretty low.
Yeah, we ran that pretty low. We had to pay, remember we talked about all that with the I don't know. We were looking through all that. We're still looking at it, remember?
Yeah.
So much stuff got paid out of this on 12/28,
I
which
was hoping
then
there was like a little error there or something.
we were
It's
looking
actually
at
more.
it, it's because we think some PSAP stuff was paid out of it, but we're looking at it.
It might go up a little more, I
Yeah.
don't know.
But this will just get us through. But what I was saying is I actually talked to Ricky today with the State Board of Accounts because in all the conferences and everything that I've gone to and everything, it's like, you don't want to have any of your funds negative. Of course, we don't want to have any of our funds negative. But when it's so important for us to get to where we're not paying all of our contracts and everything at the beginning of the year because it wipes us out before we get our settlement in. And that's kind of where we're at with this. Once we build this cash balance back up, then we'll be fine. But we paid the ambulance out of this. For this, we paid the EMS. We paid them $117,000 already in 2 months. And then our regular stuff for payroll and everything that comes out of it. So this will just get us through until we build this back up.
I noticed that loss on EMS, the first month, January, it was like $167,000.
Then they had a
And
positive.
then it was a positive 50 in February.
Yep.
And it's not in the expenses, it was in the revenue, because the expenses remain almost constant. So I don't know what the reason was for that, but
Must be
hopefully it'll
fine.
continue the positive way it did in February for
Hopefully the company keeps collecting the way that they did in February.
something happened. I don't know.
February looked nice.
Yes, it did. Yes.
Well, didn't they say that January had the old billing company also? So that could have been an
There's a
issue.
big difference, I say that. I haven't talked to anybody to see why, but
I think that's what the email said.
so that, I think that's will be good for the future then.
I make a
Hopefully.
motion that we allow this transfer.
Motion by Keith to transfer the loan of $200.
I'll second that.
Second by Stan. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Next, we're moving into additional appropriations. First one is general funds, circuit court, pauper attorney, in the amount of $48,828.22.
I'll make a motion to approve it if you want.
Second.
I think we need to probably discuss this a little bit. We're on pace with this to, if this continues, to be at around $800,000 this year. If this continues the way it's gone the first 3 months, we budgeted $150,000 for We went through all of that, plus this additional 48,000, and we're only 3 months into the year. So I just have a question of where do we plan to get the remaining, when the bills come in for the rest of the month or the rest of the year? We're looking at another potential $600,000 or more that's not planned for in the budget. So I'm just curious where your ideas are to pay for this.
I think it's gonna be difficult to find funding if it actually comes to where we need 600,000 more. We'll be scrambling.
Samantha, are there any big trials coming?
We have
or
to-
anything?
I mean, we don't have $600,000 just laying around.
I mean, we've already had we already had 3 jury trials this year.
Are they included in what we paid out then so far?
This is the last
We
bit.
haven't
We
been-
don't know.
Haven't been billed all.
Yeah, but-
Probably not.
Well,
I
I
don't
don't,
know.
it depends. I think the proper board now is.
They have 45 days.
45 days, that's
Yeah,
correct. So the ones that were in January would have already submitted their claims. I have a lot of cases, we have a lot of big cases.
I mean, we discussed this during budget that, the crime's not going down, the severity of the crimes isn't going down. And that's why I was adamant that we don't take money from the 300,000 that we had set aside that I didn't even feel was enough because we spent over 500,000 last year. And it wasn't responsible to take the money from 300,000 down to 150,000. Now we're, there were comments made, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Well, we're here. So I'm ready to hear your ideas on where this money is going to come from for the rest of the year. I was not in favor of that. So I'd like to hear from the people who were.
So where do you propose to get it?
My proposal was to not do it to begin with and to fund it properly during budget. So I'm ready to hear from you. Since you motioned to do this and take this down, I want to know from you where you plan to get this money.
Dollars available, if you had to cut here, cut somewhere else, and where else would you cut?
Um,
I don't know.
Well, we need to put needs before wants and things that we know we're obligated to pay. And that's what I tried to say during budget, and I got ridiculed. I said numerous times it was reckless, and I know that people didn't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Now here we are, the 3rd month into the year in the new budget. We're out of money. We're asking for another 50,000, and we have the rest of the year to plan for. So I want somebody to figure out where that money is going to come from without a tax increase.
And you have to understand that we are restricted to the maximum levy, but however, there's all different places you can cut
Yes.
to achieve that maximum levy. It doesn't mean, and I'm not saying it's wrong to give salary raises, but at the same time, we're not meeting our needs that we are that keep us afloat. I mean,
Yeah,
the proper attorney is, it's a huge expense,
It's
but
a
in the end,
requirement.
we have to pay for it.
Yeah, we have no option. We have to do that. We're obligated by the state. This is an obligation that we have to pay. So,
We haven't got anything back from the state on these fees yet, have we, Chris?
Mm-mm.
But we will get some.
it's very concerning.
Yeah. we submitted.
I too was concerned about this at budget time, and now it's, like Kelly said, it's hit. And the only ways I know to get the money is to either raise taxes, and I'm not for that, cut goods, services, and maybe employees. That's the only choices I think we got. Yeah, I knew it wasn't gonna be a good thing.
Chris, does this 48,000 just bring us up to what bills we have right now?
Everything that I've received from the
Okay,
courts.
so we don't have any banked. this will
No,
bring
this
us up
is
to date
everything.
too. Okay,
Everything up to date.
so we're almost all the way through March. But that's $200,000 in 3 months.
I think that something needs to be done and brought to our legislators, because how are small communities supposed to fund this?
Well-
When you have stuff to do.
Well, they did just pass a situation, I think, at the state this past session,
Right.
where I believe we're included, where they're gonna start helping us pay for misdemeanors up to 40% for the
Mhm.
test counties, which will help, but it's not gonna be enough, so, right,
That's where you're
that's
getting
not where
this.
the big,
There are options and there's things that maybe Judge and I can meet with the proper board about.
can you come up here? Sorry, they're gonna wanna hear you.
I
See
can
you.
hardly hear you anyway.
Yeah, if you have any, that'd be great.
There are options, and I think maybe Judge and I need to sit down with the pauper board, and talk about some things, because there are places where they have full-time public defenders' offices, and it's not just big counties that have it. When I was leaving Warwick County, they were getting a full-time public defender's office, and what's helpful for the county is that you give the public defender their budget. This is what your budget is, and it's kind of like my office, I have to work within that budget. That would be what, if we went that route. There's counties that have contracts, and I know that at one point, our county did contracts, and I think, talking to Judge Goff, that wasn't working out as well here, and so then they switched to, here's your rate, and you just bill based on that rate. There are places that have public defenders' offices that aren't just for that particular county. They're full-time public defenders, but they share in like a region.
Mhm.
And we've mentioned that before about talking to someplace like Crawford County, or maybe Spencer County, or one of our bordering counties that doesn't have a full-time public defender's office either, and sharing. So what that would look like, then I think we just need to sit down with the proper board and talk about those things, because you're right, we can't keep coming back. I shouldn't say we, it's not, not my budget, it's not my money. But the spending that is going on right now, to be able to fund the public defenders for all the cases we have, it's getting high.
And even if you were able to do something like that,
It
there
takes,
would be a lead time. It's going to take some time. It's not going to give us immediate relief, but for the future,
Yeah.
it would
Yeah.
be very helpful, I'm
and we
sure.
could still get reimbursements potentially with a full-time employee or a full-time pauper situation, or,
You are still eligible for all the reimbursements that you are currently. It gives the county more of a set number. This is what we're budgeting. It is expensive. I'm not gonna pretend that it's not expensive, because by statute, whatever the prosecutor and the judge make is what the full-time public defender, the chief public defender, has to make.
Mhm.
So that's by statute, so it's not super cheap.
but
But-
still, it's
But
a lot less.
700,000.
Yeah, it's not 800,000.
Yeah.
And if you get reimbursements and you know what to expect and what you can plan for, that's a lot better situation. So if you need somebody on the council to help work through that, I'll be happy to help you however, whatever we gotta
I
do.
would love to too, because there's no control right now or anything with this. The attorneys, pretty much, there's no incentive or anything to get these cases moved along and sped up. It's like they're being drawn out and
I think it
billed
depends.
excessively.
I do think it depends on each separate attorney, because some attorneys, obviously, they don't want to spend a lot of time on their
Right.
pauper cases if they don't have to. They want to get those resolved. And then other attorneys, it's different with each one. So I do think that moving forward, it's something to talk about, something to look at, maybe a way in the future to give a little bit more of a concrete budget at budget time. So that's maybe something to talk about before we end up going through budget session this year.
The real solution is just to reduce the crimes.
Hey, I love that.
Get on that, David.
I'll see if I can work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good idea. And if you need any council members, then I'll be happy to volunteer
And I
to help with that.
think Kim would like it too, so she doesn't have to do all the reimbursement and keeping track of numbers. So just something for everybody to think about.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we're here sooner than we
Thanks.
thought we were gonna be.
See, did we have a motion on that?
Stan and Paul, I'm gonna vote.
Stan and Paul. Motion by Stan, second by Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Motion 4-0. Next we have,
4-1.
4-1.
And I said no because I would rather not take an additional and look within the budget to see what could be cut. So just for the record.
Next we had general funds, circuit court per diem in the amount of 15,000. She said something about the rate increased.
I tried to look at that, but I couldn't hardly, I did email Judge Goffin, but it was today, so she may not have gotten it. She, it was late in the day. But I was just curious because it looked like we had budgeted 3,000, but then this is an additional 15. So
That's what
I
we
was
couldn't
curious
figure out.
what the rate went from to, because I can't understand what this means. I can't really read that. Can you see that? I don't know what that top says. I can't read what the
Okay,
top.
the first
the-
column,
No, I
the
can't.
first column is effective date.
Okay.
The second column is
Look at you, David.
appearance pay amount. And then this third column is served pay amount daily. Then 6+ days service rate. And then mileage rate in dollars. So I don't know if that helps at all.
Only the notes that I have, which is the exact same things I sent to you guys, to cover juror expenses for upcoming trials, the
That's
amount
what I thought.
requested in original budget was before the passage of the higher juror compensation rates. See attached. These are expenses that have to be paid.
I was just curious if there's anything else, any other area besides general that it could come from?
But it's just that it went from 3,000 to 18,
To 18, really.
so it's 6 times. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the increased trials. I don't know.
Well, she said the rate went up,
I
so,
know.
but I couldn't.
Well, the
Determine
rate
what
went
that
up
was.
and the number of trials went up.
It could be, I guess.
That pays for expenses to pauper.
But it is 6 times what we
No,
budgeted.
this just pays for the juror.
It does?
This is
No, just jurors.
No, this is
Okay,
jurors.
just the jurors.
This is just another part of what we've been dealing with, the cost of everything going up.
I guess the worst case, they don't use it all, we could transfer it back out.
It won't be used, you don't have to transfer, it's out of general. So whatever you're giving them an appropriation.
Yeah.
So you're increasing it from 3,000 to 18,000. If they only spend 10,000
We
of
can bring
it,
it back.
that 8,000 they start back at 0 in 2024. So
Okay.
if they don't use it, it
Okay,
stays in general.
It'll essentially come back though. I mean,
Yeah, it stays, it
Okay.
doesn't go anywhere, it stays.
But entertain a motion, I guess, to approve it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Stan, second by Keith. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have additional appropriation out of Riverboat for software maintenance. This is for the An Island, the new servers.
Which has been installed and is already working.
so he got it pretty quick.
Yeah, they installed it this past weekend.
So you're a lot faster now?
Yep, all good. We haven't had any,
What do they do with the old one?
I have no clue.
Probably goes
I hope
to-
it gets wiped out and destroyed or something. Or is it still county property, I guess? I guess it would be. It'd still be a county asset, so you'll need to figure out what to do with that.
So I'll need to.
Okay.
But entertain a motion to approve this.
I'll make a motion.
Motion McKelly,
I'll
second by
that.
Stan. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Next, also Riverboat, we have consulting services in the amount of $1,954.50. I think that's the balance of what that one invoice with Frost Brown Todd, legal fees.
So
We
if-
we have enough to pay a portion of this invoice, the
Plus the
$4,092. So this is just the difference of what, that $3,000 that we had.
So any going forward will be an additional. Okay.
Yep.
That's what you guys asked for.
That's fine. No, I like it that
How much
way,
time?
so I can keep track. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion McKelly,
Second.
second by Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 As 4 with 1 abstention. Next, we have distressed road, highway, county road improvements in the amount of $600,000. What is that? We have that every year, don't we?
Money we got for Brushy Park.
That's what I thought. Kelly and I were talking about that, and I said, I think it has something to do with community crossings.
Make a motion, we approve.
That's what DR 1218, we were like, what is that? It was that account DR 1218, and we were trying to look that up, and we couldn't find it.
Couldn't find that. I guess it's new, relatively new, maybe?
I think we changed the number on that, didn't we,
Nope.
Chris? Didn't we have to have?
We had, you're right, yes, we had to do a new loan.
Oh,
Okay, we couldn't find it, and we
Yeah.
thought, what is
Yes,
this?
we had to do a new
We
number.
thought you made a mistake.
No, I probably haven't,
Maryland don't make mistakes.
I probably haven't added you guys to be able to see.
Love
I
her.
have to update every
It was
time.
Chris.
Did you make a motion, Keith?
Yes, I made a motion.
Motion by Keith,
I'll second it.
second by Kelly. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have local income tax, highway, county road improvements in the amount of $700,000.
That's the edit.
That's where we had it.
That's the,
That's the added money. We'll use
Match.
part of that for community crossing matching funds if we get that, and we may have to use some on Berkeley Park, depending on the bids, and then that pays for the rest of the paving, any other paving we do.
And can you just clarify where this is gonna start on Brushy Fork, because the city owns part of Brushy Fork, right?
It's gonna
So,
start at the sign, the county road sign there by VIP.
okay,
It's gonna start there and go to St. Mark.
so the city didn't wanna do their
They-
portion?
Well, and I was told, I talked to them 2 years in a row about it.
Okay,
First year they was gonna try to, last year they said they didn't think he'd be able to, but I had a paving contractor in there last week and he said they were getting estimates on.
okay,
So hopefully they'll,
just go ahead and do
We'll have to do
that
it,
section.
It'd be nice if it was the same contractor, where keep it all tied together, but there ain't nothing you can do about that.
I'll make a motion to approve that if you're ready, David.
yes. Motion by Kelly, second by Stan. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have Kiewit Bridge, highway, county road improvements in the amount of $26,736. What bridge is that?
that is our phase 1A of our bridge inspection. It'll be 80% reimbursed.
I read your bridge inspection. I was looking at them online. Is that pretty normal? The things that they found or the number
Well,
of,
they had a whole bunch of signs this past year,
okay.
but, everything else is pretty well.
Okay. I was just curious. I never read one, so I saw it and I thought, well,
We didn't have any on the 12-month inspection this time, but that's good that we don't. So they're all either 2 years, and some of them went to 4 years now if they're in good enough shape. So it saves
Are we
some money.
funding any of those signs that show the curves? and
No, that's all in.
David.
It's all state highway. Yeah, boy, they waste a
The
lot.
one sign on your road?
Signs.
Yeah, there is.
Are you gonna ask for some signs?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion by Kelly, second by Stan.
Yeah.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, appreciate everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Happy.
Next, we have cumulative capital development, courthouse building, $15,000. Is there money in there?
What's the
Zero.
thought?
Yep.
I mean, what are we gonna do with it?
So it's not an additional, this is what happened. At budget time, and I sent you guys when this proposed budget was put together, the requested amount was changed from 15,000 to 0 because it was a misunderstanding on my part where I thought, if you guys remember, we talked about this, setting up the building maintenance fund with the edit and lit, because I thought this would take this out of this budget and we'd pay everything out of there. And you guys were like, no, those are for big projects, all this. But the 15,000 never got added back into this. You guys discussed adding it back in, but the amount that was approved is with that fund at 0. So currently right now, I've had no fund or no account line to pay any of the building maintenance out of. Another thing with the 2025 budget, I would like to propose you guys to make locations on this line item for the courthouse, because currently right now, all of it's under the location courthouse. And I think that it might be easier for you guys if you ever wanted to look back to see how much we're spending on the north annex, the south annex, anything to where it's coming out of separate locations. But currently right now, I don't have any line item. This was discovered in January. But I couldn't do anything till I got the annual financial report done in March. So I've had this noted on there. So it should have been 15,000 for this full budget to be 277,500, but you guys approved it at 266,500. Did I say that right? No. That'd be
262.
close, yeah, yeah, it's been a long day. That would be plus 5, it'd be 282.
Does it carry through for the year?
This is the amount you guys budget every year, yeah, for that. And last year, we spent 13,353.
You gotta pay, have maintenance done. I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Keith,
Second.
second by Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have out of the general fund, courthouse, utilities, radio tower, Greenwood. I was thinking Greenwood, Indiana, but we're talking about Greenwood Cemetery. $240. But I guess that hasn't been budgeted for in 2023 or 2024. It's for
Didn't take the tower.
the new tower.
Yeah, we didn't add it till last year.
And that was missed.
I'm just curious why it wasn't like a PSAP expense.
You didn't, you guys did an additional on this, it's for utilities. Steve came in last year and asked for an additional on this, or to add this line item. So then, of course, when we do our 2024 budget, we look off of 2023. So like I said, I put the auditor has made notes to make sure this line item is added to the 2025 budget. In 2023 appropriation, actually it wasn't an additional appropriation, there was an in-house transfer were made from other line items to pay for
I
it.
don't think 240 will carry
He said
through the year.
That's what I said for that it will.
That's only $20 a month.
We
The
spent.
14 something a month.
The bill's like
Gas and
14.
electricity both.
The bill's $14.54 a month.
Should be gas and natural gas in West Ohio Valley's not charging. And they're
Ohio
supposed to be
Valley.
electric.
The gas company's charging $14.54 a month, looks like.
And it looks like electric only charged one time in
So that
2023.
35,105, that's a new number, right?
Which
Because it's not on a budget.
Which one?
The 35,105,
Yes, because,
because we never really,
right, they kept that separate for utilities for Greenwood Radio Tower.
I'm just curious why it's not like a dispatch expense.
No, it's something to ask Steve, I guess.
Maybe next year we can see if it can come out of there.
Yep.
Because that's
And
what
they
it's
put those
for.
notes for our budget. Ask if it can be budgeted out of PSAP next year.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, that's what it's used for, right?
I mean, do you want to table this and check it for this year? Because I haven't had, nothing's been added this year.
You didn't pay to advertise this.
Oh, yeah, I did pay to advertise for this, but nothing's been,
I'd say go ahead with it
yeah, I
this
think we
year.
ran this negative. Yeah, we've already made it.
Or $240.
And it,
I know, I just,
I know
we're
it.
gonna need a lot of.
Yeah, we may have to put it on next year.
You get right.
budget.
okay.
So
I'll
I'll
put
I'll make
notes.
a motion to approve this.
Motion by Stan, second by
Second.
Paul. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have Baker Tilly scope for assistance with 2025 budget. We had met kind of a little work session or question and answers with him a week or so ago, March 14th, I guess it's been 2 weeks ago. And we were looking at this scope and, I was kind of confused. They have like, it seemed like there's two different sections for signing.
Well, they have an A, B, and a C. And so A is the initial at 30,000, B is the 20,000 annually, is that right? And then C is,
What is C?
to me, C is things that I thought was gonna be included in A.
We thought that
And
was
B.
raised, if you did the A,
You ask
you
those
did not have
questions.
C.
If you do, that's the way I interpret it. C was just the,
I don't know.
Well, I just wanna make sure that
Maybe
we're
we
not,
need to clarify
I wanna make
this.
sure, yeah, that we're not gonna be charged A, every year charged B, and then if we ask any of the questions in C, that it's gonna be additional.
There's two
Because
different signature pages. You have the signature page for the A, B,
That's
and you have the
crazy.
signature page for C.
Me.
And of course, they told us that if the 8,000 we paid last year, that would be all part of this
right.
30 if we chose to do that, so.
Yeah.
And they also said, they said 35 and 15 for the additional years, but now it's 30 and 20.
I mean, what I would do is email your questions, I mean, because to Jason on these scopes.
Okay.
Or I can.
Well, it's probably better if you do it, because I'm
Okay.
afraid he'll charge us for, or, you know,
But then you need to get your questions to,
that's another thing, yeah. One person probably needs to be the contact.
So we just want to check and see if we do.
Either David or
A.
Terry.
I could do it.
A is the initial, like, here's to bring us on board, get us a plan. B is every year after that, but what is C? Is that if, in addition to A and B?
I think it's to help with the
Or-
budget and stuff. Doesn't
I
it say
mean,
that?
I thought
'Cause that's
it was
crazy.
just if you just wanted, like C was a third option,
If you don't want to do an A or
if you
B,
don't want to do an A. That's
I
the way
just wanna
I
verify.
interpret it.
because,
It
you
doesn't
know,
offer the full package of A.
some of those services at $400 to $600 an hour is like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be making phone calls, asking questions.
I think C
That's
is,
what them lawyers are charging, isn't it?
Not what I get paid.
Well, I don't know, but I also, just one other thing, I think this is a good thing, I think we need this, I think it's just good for the future and the financial health of our county, but I want a commitment from everyone that if we do this and we pay this money, we're actually going to follow it. We're going to follow their recommendations and, you know, what the plan that they put together for us and how we need to get there. I don't know if that needs to be in a resolution or what, but it's a lot of money to waste if we don't utilize it.
I think that if most of us are on board with it, I think that maybe we ought to have them come back down rather than, I mean, it's okay to email them some of the questions, but to have them come back down again.
Does it say,
We've got some papers and ask the questions.
I don't mind to have another work
Yeah,
session
I think that.
If they'll do that, I don't know if they
This kind of
will.
money.
for that much money, you know, that they charge you.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
that would be what we need to do.
did they mention how many counties are actually using this service? And
I mean,
maybe we
it's
can
gonna be
call
very
and see if they
beneficial
really,
if we do.
I mean, I looked at the video, I couldn't make it, but it looked like a very good thing, even for, in the future, for auditors and council, you know, I think it would be
I
a
know
good
they're
thing.
highly used. in
I think if we spend a little money up front to do this, if we actually commit to this and follow through with it, not just pay them and then say, well, we don't like what you're saying, so we're gonna do whatever we want.
I think if we're gonna do it, that we ought to request them to come back down and meet one more time, if they will.
Or a
which I'm
Zoom,
sure
or maybe a
they
Zoom
will.
call or something.
You know, this second appendix, it's labeled as budget assistance and other budget support services.
I know. That's what I
I
don't
thought that's
understand.
kind of what we probably utilized last year. So I thought that 8,000 was supposed to be incorporated in this if we chose to do this. That was my thinking. But maybe it's a question we
We
need
just
to
need to clarify it.
ask them.
Just give me 1 second.
I'll get you some questions tonight, Chris, or
Okay.
do you want David to do it?
I can do it, that's fine. You send it to me.
I just think one person being the contact,
Yeah.
whoever it is.
I'm working with them right now with other stuff on
Okay.
redevelopment, so. Let's see.
I don't know, I mean, is it too much to ask to have a resolution to say, okay, if we're really gonna spend $50,000 or 30,000 initially and 20,000 every year, that we're going to take it serious and we're gonna, you know,
That's that man there.
do we need a resolution for that? I mean, I really feel like I want some teeth in it. I mean, this is a big investment.
Well, the thing is,
I think it's responsible to
You
taxpayers to
can't-
say, I'll do
you
that, you know.
can't do resolution for the future
No,
council.
We can do it now,
I
though.
mean, we can do it now, but I think it's a good thing for future when you change over auditors and council. I mean,
Well,
The
that's one
commissioners.
thing about it, by doing this, in my opinion, we're taking care of the future. You're not, people aren't coming in so blindsided.
Well, everything can be undone. I mean, anybody,
Sure,
if you have a majority,
absolutely.
you can undo an ordinance, a resolution, anything you
Yeah.
want.
Sure.
It just takes a majority. So, I don't know. I'm still a little about the wage study that was done that wasn't utilized. So that was a lot of money. I still want to go back to that. So I just want to make sure we're serious. And I think this is a good thing. And I think if we spend a little money up front, it'll save us a lot in the long run. So,
You can look at it as investment, because given how complex everything is anymore, they can really help us out with a lot of things.
I think this council probably is serious about it. But, you know, I don't know what the future councils will be, but
okay, so we'll just table that for now, I guess?
Yeah, I will,
Yeah.
get your questions to me. I will email him,
I'll send it
those
to you tonight.
questions and also see if if he would be willing to, if Paige and Jason would be willing to have another, come down here for another meeting, to get things done
If
or
they
a
can't do
Zoom.
that, Chris, I know they're in Indy. Yeah, we could just have a meeting and have them on Zoom.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot to ask for two of them to
Yeah.
come down and they met, you know.
So, and then I'll get you all that information.
you make a motion.
I think she.
I'll second that motion, if you made that motion to table it.
Yeah, sure.
And we will ask them to come down in some fashion, either.
Yeah.
Either Zoom or.
I do think it's important that everybody, you know, gets a chance to hear everything. and
Okay,
then-
motion by Kelly to table and that we bring to another meeting and get questions for them, and second by Stan. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Oh, it's on here next. Cumulative capital development rate. That's something that it kind of came up at the meeting with Baker Tilly. I know Pam, when Pam was here, she talked about that, raising it. And at one point, I looked at it and I thought, they told me that we were at the maximum that you couldn't raise it anyway.
And we were last year.
So, and then last year, I think they also said that again, but I guess what Baker Tilly says, we could raise it from I think we were 0.316 and to 0.333, which would generate another $20,000.
I say leave it alone.
I'm not in favor of that.
I'm not either.
No, we don't have to do it.
I just want to, let's work through our current situation, see how we can be as efficient as we can with our current tax dollars before we raise any taxes.
Now, there's some things we maybe can do that will help us
Sure.
move this.
I mean, there's other options. We can,
I think there's still work to be done, so
Okay,
like I said,
just my opinion.
I'm not for raising taxes.
all right. Next, we have President County Council's Office Liaison Schedule. I think,
So did you take a vote to know that? You didn't?
oh,
I'll make a motion to, what, know that? What did you say?
That's why I said know that.
I mean, what's the real way to say, that we do not,
Not raise the rate.
further advance
Yeah.
any increases in taxes for the cum cap,
I'll
right?
second that.
motion by, who made that motion? Kelly or Paul?
Kelly.
Kelly, second by Keith. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. I didn't realize we had to take a vote on it.
I didn't know, I mean, I don't know.
It doesn't hurt.
Probably didn't have you.
We got it all.
President, this is a liaison schedule. I think back in 2020, we started doing that. I think at that time it was just, I think Luke was probably the first one to start doing this, and we did for a while, and then it kind of died down, and
Yeah,
I think we
I
just
got a call from the Parks Department, and he said, I was his liaison. I said, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. I mean, nobody ever discussed it.
But anyway, it's just that if you kind of stop by the different departments and, just, I guess, see how they're doing and if they have any questions, and hopefully they would, get with us if they did have it anyway, but maybe this is a way of kind of, I think Kelly and Chris had kind of talked about maybe, rotating, where you can have the same one all year.
Yeah, if everybody wants to do this, where we have to, they have liaisons, then I thought maybe we could rotate them. So we could all get around to all of them. If everybody wants to do that, if you don't want to have liaisons, it doesn't matter to me. I don't know, it's just something
I
you,
think it's a good thing. I try to get around and spend 2 hours here at the courthouse visiting everybody, but, it's just part of it, I think that we kind of stick our head in the door and check on everybody, relationship,
So-
what have you.
So if they got an issue or something, they call whoever's the liaison and,
I mean,
you go
technically
talk
they
to
can call
them
any of us
or-
at any
I
time.
Can I speak? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I was kind of thinking more, especially since I know we've talked since April, and, I feel like we're all trying to work together to have a better budget session and everything going forward. And understanding that we really can't come in September in 3 days and think that we're going to put this budget together in 3 days. We really need to do a lot of work beforehand, and I think it's important that you guys know a lot of what goes on in these offices. And I think this allowing, you guys 3 months to focus on 1 or 2 offices to kind of know exactly what goes on in there will help you when it comes a little bit to budget. I don't think it's anything of micromanaging. I don't think it's anything of necessarily if they have a problem or whatever. I think it's just kind of getting to know everything that goes on and the needs and abilities of each of the offices, and, allowing you guys to see things and work with them to make things better for the county as a whole. And allows you guys to see things, to maybe make suggestions, to work together to help better things. I just think it's a way of kind of setting some stuff, some guidelines for communication and whatnot, because it's not to say that you guys don't stop in and say hi and see us and everything, but to kind of know a little bit more of that, so.
One thing I noticed on here, and I'm not nitpicking your work by no means, but I think the county highway should be added onto this.
Do we not have highway on there?
I don't see it.
Got left off, Steve.
I apologize,
All right, yes, we will do that.
or I'll take Steve.
Highway.
The whole year, it don't matter.
I don't know about this. I don't know. I think it could potentially be a problem. I don't know. I know budgets. I don't know their department, but I guess if you go in there, I don't know if you're gonna learn in a few minutes or 5 minutes stepping in an office, you're gonna learn all the details,
You probably won't.
It was just something that was mentioned, that there used to be liaisons, and now there's not. It's been asked, so that's why I brought it.
There used to be.
Mhm.
What years was
I think
that?
2021 probably.
Yeah, Luke started.
I think it's a good thing, just to, we could go
I
on.
probably discontinued it when I came back as president.
It never really got
Probably did.
discontinued, it just got dropped.
He's got off or whatever.
Well,
I know
each one has an option if they want to do
You
this.
guys got to kind of be careful. You don't want to just pester these departments too much, because I think there was one that was, they were ready to run him out on the rail.
Yeah.
I think me and most of them's got things settled now. We're
One
not
thing I
gonna
do
that
know is,
now.
I know budgets. I know you can't spend more than you take in, so,
No,
I'm sorry, I
and,
cut out there too long.
Will you, if this is approved, are you gonna send this out to them, I guess, and tell them your schedule?
Whatever you guys want me to do.
so you need to adjust it.
Well, I just don't want me to show up and they say, what is she doing here? Like, I don't want them to think that I'm I don't know.
They got, some of the departments were requesting it.
Yes, it's been,
Warren, would you like to see us do this?
Well, we was doing it before,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, nobody showed up. Now, last year, I invited everybody out, and everybody showed up at different times. But, you know, if you've got a department you're head, or, you know, liaison for, just call them in advance, say, hey, are you gonna be available on such a date?
I love it when you guys stop in. Okay, I do.
Warren always wants you to come out to
Yeah.
view an autopsy.
You're welcome.
You didn't have Cokes for me, so I didn't stop in again.
So does everybody want to do this? It sounds like the
I
motion,
make a motion that we do it. I mean,
motion by Keith to do it.
I
Did you
think
say
it
that?
should be left to the
Second by Paul.
individual if they want to do it, so.
Yeah. All those in favor? Signify by saying aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
I think it's good.
4-1. So you don't want to do it?
Huh?
You don't want to do it?
that's fine. I
You
mean,
don't have to.
no.
I just don't, I don't know about their departments. I can stick my head in, but I can't say I really know what's going on in
But it's gotta
5
be
minutes.
important during budget season that you guys sit and talk with these and
Oh,
understand
sure,
this.
yeah, but they come to us during the budget season.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, what we do right now is not enough, because I'm telling you right now, when we're here for 2 and 3 hours listening to these departments, if you're probably the first 4 or 5, but I know how we were last year, it got to be where it was toward the end, and you're just wore out. So I would like to see it to where we have, like, start early. What I see for our budget session is us starting our budget in May and
Well, I
start
don't mind doing it
meeting
better
all
than starting
that.
early. I don't
Yeah.
mind that at all,
But
you know.
I don't know. It's been asked why we didn't have do we have liaisons anymore? I kind of brought it to a couple councils members that I had talked to, and it's like, well, put it on the agenda. So I put it on the agenda. And then I said, well, why don't you work something up, because it's just easier to have something. And I apologize, I forgot the
Why
highway.
was it dropped? I mean,
What?
I wonder why it was
I
dropped.
think it just fell by the wayside.
It probably just,
There were different,
I was
there were some new
president, I
elected
didn't push
officials, and I think we just never
Yeah.
never came back up.
There's just so much involved in more.
Yeah, there was a
I
lot,
don't know.
lot of transition, people moving around and one thing.
And the thing is, you guys do come in, and stop and say hi and stuff. So it's not really anything different
Move on.
than,
it might keep everybody happy.
Move on.
You think so?
Yeah.
Not if we don't do what they want.
Yeah.
Okay, David.
This is just ordinance for applying for grants. At one time, we passed this ordinance, I thought, but we can't find a signed copy. And I also had a copy of it's a resolution of the Perry County Council and the Commissioner. It's like a joint resolution that, I don't know where I got it from, but I thought if we wanted to I think we need to maybe revisit this and tweak it and maybe have Rod look at it and see if it's something we should do. And I had these copies, Rod, if they may help you, maybe not you having to reinvent the wheel.
I remember when we did that.
Yeah, I don't know why we can't find a signed copy though.
literally, all I can find
Like
is
2 pages.
this copy that was in the minute book with the December 16th of 2021 minutes, but there's no signatures or anything on it.
And it's labeled as a resolution, County Council 21-2.
And I had to dig and dig to find this.
I think we can revisit it, look at what we have, see if anybody has any changes or updates or anything, send them to David. Maybe he can get it to Rod and see if everybody's in favor of having something like this. I think it's a good thing to be able to, appropriately budget and know what they're applying for, and then if they're granted things so that we can budget in the future.
Because we have some that are
We
kind
know
of
expenses.
abiding, coming before us, and then we have others that
Yeah.
aren't, so we need to clarify it. And
Yeah,
I
just
think
make it
while we're-
uniform.
If we're gonna have to revisit this, I think that we need to add in something that we've discussed numerous times on getting quotes for jobs. The state's about what, $50,000?
I think,
we're working on that.
you know?
I think it's a good idea.
I already talked to Rod about
Make it
that.
more strict than what the state has. More,
Yeah, I mean,
drop the amount to,
5,000.
I agree. I think that's
Yeah,
probably
if
a
you
good
can't get
amount.
two prices for a $5,000 job.
Yeah, we're working on that. Rod and I have talked about that.
I'm in favor of that.
Okay, of the grants, we were just discussing that. So we will get with Rod and let him look at that, what we have here, and see if he wants to add to it or thinks it looks good or whatever. Next item is, our next meeting is Thursday, April 25th, 2024 at 5 PM at the North Annex Training Room. That's due to early voting.
Yep.
So election time again.
They'll have you'll have a camera set up out there.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Oh, nope, never mind.
I don't recognize you.
Take it back.
Okay.
The one that was left off, just kidding.
Since I'm short a truck driver, I wanted to get you guys permission to go ahead and advertise for a truck driver.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think I did that after that last one quit, so I want to make sure of that.
I'll make a motion to allow that.
Second.
Motion by Keith, second by Paul to allow Steve to look for another truck driver. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Good luck.
Opposed, nay.
Thank
Motion
you.
carries 5-0.
And any of you are welcome out there anytime, Tyler, or
Just not on Fridays, huh?
except for.
Yeah, well, they're welcome.
They're
There's ain't nobody
welcome.
gonna be there.
That's probably a good day to go.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Kelly to adjourn. You
Yes,
don't need a
I'll-
motion to adjourn.
We don't?
I'm saying,
Kelly, who's the second on the adjournment?
I do.
David H. then?
Well, I think we should.